Good morning, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch with a little bit of paper crafting thrown in too. If you are new, I'd like to say welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play. I hope you like what you see. Maybe hit like and subscribe, and I would love to know what you like to stitch. And if you're a returning stitching friend, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time to also hang out, press play, do all of the good things, and I always like to know what you're stitching, because I'm easily enabled. I think we know that by now. So welcome. I need to just take a deep breath. It has been a morning already. The adventures with the dog means life is different, right? And a puppy, no less. So it's been ups and downs, and but we're here, and I am ready to show my cross stitch, and I'm excited to do so. And we had no accidents in the house this morning, so that was my that was my big win for the day. It's only morning, but you know, we'll take every win we can get. So let's just jump right in. As a reminder, everything you're going to see this week is 18 count. So I'm not going to and I might, just because of it's almost muscle memory now to say 18 count, blah, blah, blah. But everything is 18 count, Ada. Some things I know, most of the things I know what they are. Some I don't. When I don't, I'm not going to worry about it anymore. I'm not going to stress. You get the general color idea, and I'll do the best I can where I can. But I've been finding too, I've been trying to use my scraps more in some cases, and I don't leave labels. I don't bother trying to do that. It's just, ooh, let's see what's out there, and let's have some fun. So let's just jump right in. I kind of straddled, I think last Friday was the 31st, right? It was Halloween. So I had at least one last I Spy prompt that I was fulfilling. So I straddled the plans from October and then moved into November. If you are new, I Spy is a stitching challenge that I have created that you're more than welcome to join in on. I create 10 prompts each month, and then I try to find them in some way, shape, or form on my projects. And you can make it fun. You can change it up. Don't worry about, being exactly to the letter of whatever it is. If you can make a case for it and it's kind of fun, I find it's like a brain game, and we want to use our brains more, right? So go for it. I think that's great. It's great for your brain. So that's a good excuse to stretch these prompts as much as you need to. All right, so let's jump in. Last month, the last prompt I hadn't done was a wavy line. And I love stitching this. So any excuse I can have to stitch it, I really enjoy it. It's Sampler of the Sea from Carriage House Sampling. So let me bring it right up to you. And you can see underneath, there are wavy lines under all of the letters. Now, I am doing color conversions on this. I will, once I have them all figured out, I will put them on my, I'll put it as a post, and it will go into the color conversion collection on my Patreon. Just a reminder, I have a Patreon that is completely free. You're more than welcome to join. I will put the I Spy prompts there, as well as on my Facebook group, as well as on my main page for my channel. So there's plenty of places. I always want you to be able to participate in any kind of challenges or fun things that I'm doing. And so I've found different ways if you would prefer not to be on social media. So that's this one. And like I said, once I have it, I will give you the complete color conversion. I'm going to fold this over this way. And here we are. This is so much fun. If you wanted something that's kind of oceany or nautically or whatever, and you like alphabets, these letters are very fun to do. This pattern, I cannot recommend it enough. I so enjoy it. This is Captivating Cosette from Those Missing Stitches. So it's a little bit of a kind of brownish shades. It's a little bit warmer than it's showing up here. So that's looking a little bit on the cool side. If you go and think a little bit beigeier, that's what that is. And remember, everything I'm telling you is the 18 count version of these. So everything could be slightly different if you go for different counts or different types of fabric when you go to these hand dyers. But let me come up close. I know I've changed the color of the anchor. I've changed the color of the coral. I've changed the color of the lighthouse. I might have kept the ice cream cone. I can't remember now. And the letters are in a very fun, like deep blue, navy, and deep green. And I love those two colors. So for me, that's like, ooh, sweet spot. So that's where we are. I mean, I have, 2 more rows of letters, and obviously there's motifs in with the letters to kind of go where the letters are. But I found this one really fast to go. I don't have a specific, like I've worked on it X number of times. I'm still working on, I have some ways I keep track of my stitching, but it's not refined 100% yet, because that would be fun for me to know. I was doing it by hand, but that was a lot of extra paperwork that was doing fine, but now with the dog, I don't have time to do extra paperwork. So that's where it is. And like I said, I'd be happy to share. And maybe you like some of my changes, and maybe you like the originals. That's what the color conversions are helpful for too. Like, you don't have to do what I'm always doing. But you might say, ooh, I really like though that choice for the lighthouse. So that's the one I want to change. So that's where I will try to give you as much information as possible. I'm a little bit more penned in. I'm on an organizational quest. It's been how many years now that I've been here full time, and I'm really trying to get the house, or my crafting area, I should say. The rest of the house is organized and pretty much what we're going to get for furniture. But I'm slowly kind of getting rid of some of the temporary organization stuff that I had come down here with from Connecticut. And but there's still a little bit more to go. So I'm actually in, you know how you make more of a mess before you get clean? I'm in the more of a mess pile right now, but I'm a little bit more tight here. So I'm trying to figure out the best way. You know, I'll never be able to reach those. I'm going to go on the side with these. So at some point, if I can get myself organized and in gear, that might be a goal for the new year, right? Because with the Christmas tree is going to be going up soon, and so everything won't be 100% organized. But at some point, it would be nice to be able to do kind of a tour of what I'm doing. Okay, so that was the I Spy prompt for October. We're in November now, right? It's November 7th. All right, now let's move into November. This is actually a new start. I started this with Mary of Mary Stitching Corner. You know, I like to write down who I mention, and then I will link it in the description box below under Flosstubers Mentioned. Mary is mentioned pretty much every video because I stitch a lot of things with her. And we are on a quest to stitch almost all of the Blueberry Ridge and quite a few of the Pansy Patch things together. And we have started the Sampler Holidays Christmas. We started that in July. Now we're starting Thanksgiving. So the 1st of November, we started this. And I'm going to, I kind of lost my words for a minute there because my brain is going in one way while I'm trying to say what I wanted to say. I've debated on, there's a floss DMC variation that I think would have looked better than what I chose. However, I've got, you know, maybe a good 500 stitches in. I'd have to look at my notes exactly. I've got at least 500 stitches in. And in my mind, I was having this internal debate whether or not to even mention it to you, because then do I want to restart after that many stitches or what? I think it looks good and I want your opinion. Let's just, you know, long story short. So that's what it's going to look like. And I actually did use this one for, where did this come in? I Spy. Yes. So I Spy Something That Sings. And there's a little kind of, now that might be a coffee pot, but I'm going to call it a kettle because I have one of those electric standing kettles so that, you know, you put the water in, you click the button and then it heats it up that way rather than the stovetop. And so sometimes these kettles sing, right? They make that little whistling noise when mine bubbles more. But I do remember, oh, my mom had one that, boy, that thing, you could hear it anywhere. You could hear it 3 houses over. It whistled so loud. So kettles sometimes sing when they whistle. I'm calling that a kind of sing. So see, that's what I mean. Make it your own. Because I could have done birds, which is a perfectly wonderful prompt because birds do sing and do so lovely. But I decided I wanted to do something a little bit different. All right, so here I am. What do you think? I was hoping there'd be a bit more brown. The original is done with a Gloriana silk, which I am not going to do. And they gave 6 DMC alternatives because obviously it's highly variegated, the silk, between browns all the way to reds and oranges and, well, more yellow than orange. So I wasn't going to do that necessarily because I kind of wanted to just use the one and go with it. And I chose 4130. And I was hoping there'd be a bit more brown, but take my mind out of it. What are your thoughts? Because I was looking at my DMC, you know, my DMC book. And the reason why I was looking at it is a little finish you'll see later. And over here on this side, they have all of the, you know, the different variegated types of DMCs. And I was looking at them and I was thinking, there's a couple that would have had a bit more brown than what I chose. But this fabric, it's kind of, it's not, well, it's sort of brownish. It's almost like a pinky brown. This is an Unnamed from To Die For Fabrics. She doesn't always name her stuff. And I say snap them up even if they don't have a name because a lot of times they're so beautiful. But that's what that, so I can't tell you exactly what it is, but I think it works really well for this. But what do you think? Do you like that? And honestly, is it bad enough that I would want to start all over again and kind of throw this work out? And this is easy, right? But borders can be, you know, a lot of work and a lot of extra effort. So, and I've already got, this is the edge. So I've already brought one part of it all the way over. You can see the width on it. I'm leaning, you can see I'm trying to talk myself into keeping it. So I need your help with that. But that's what it looks like. And I'd like to continue working on this one for the month. It won't be done by Thanksgiving, and that's fine. It's pretty tall actually, ish. It's 143 by 172. So, you know, okay, we're fine width-wise, but you're going to get taller than that down here. So it's a good size. And it's not like I dislike it. I think that's the thing. So I need objective opinions on that. So that's what it looks like. And so I've started I Spy now for November. Now the other challenge that I'm doing, I will talk about in about 3 more projects. Now, one thing I am trying to do 100 stitches a day-ish. Again, everything is always ish with me. I don't keep it hard or fast rule, is Turkey Day. I would like to, there's nothing ish about it. I would like to get this one finished by the end of this month. And Thanksgiving is actually pretty late, isn't it? So that they almost coincide with each other. I'm going to put this in the scrapbook. It's not like I'm going to put it out and about, but I would like to get it done. This might be the 3rd year now, and I struggled with it a bit because of the gray scale of the pattern, and you only get paper. There's no digital. So it kind of went away for a while. I figured out how to make my life a little easier, and now I'm getting so close. So now we're kind of on that. Okay, I've gotten over the difficult part. Now let's just move along and get it done. This is Buttercream from To Die For Fabric. And I have done all of the called for. And I think I mentioned this last week, these are a little peachy for me. I want to say it's like $7.58. Let me see. If I can find it. Of course, can I ever find them quickly? No. Yeah, $7.58. And I don't know, that's a little peachy for me. I can't reach $7.58. It's covered by my table right here, but I would have shown you. And I'm not feeling it. So I was debating on doing kind of almost more of a deepish reddish brown. I'm not sure if 3777 would work. And then this color leaf is supposed to be over here, and I'm thinking this color has been repeated down here. I might repeat that color, or maybe I make that color where the red, I don't know. There's some work that has to be done there. So I've done work here. What's really, I don't know if anybody else stitched this, did this mess with your brain? The light gray, which I think is like 01, that symbol is a completely black square. And then the black, the symbol is an X. And every time I see it, I think the black square is the black stitching, and then the X is the gray. So every single time I have to reset my brain, and I've almost made mistakes so many times. But I did work on that. I worked a little bit on his leg. I finished, except for the inside, this entire leaf is done as well. One day I just said, I'm just gonna go row by row and get that done. So that's where it is. I really do think, I mean, we're what, November 7th? I haven't stitched on it yet today. Gosh, I don't see why this couldn't be finished. The only thing that would hold me up is if I hem and haw too much about the leaf colors. But otherwise, I think it could be very much doable by the end of the month. So hopefully that will be another finish to clock in for the year. If I look at my finishes, let's see if I can find it real quick in my book. So far I've done 59 starts this year, and I have had 48 finishes. So pretty darn good, I think. It'd be nice to get a few more. I'd like to get at least that, well, really I only need, what do I need for, what was my finish? 48, so only 2 more to get to 50. That'd be kind of cool. And I think there's definitely a few that could reach that level. Okay, this is another one that I would like to try to wrap up during the autumn season. There's a lot I'd like to wrap up during the autumn season. I don't think it's all going to happen, but that's okay. Because I do have winter I'd like to do. And that will be the last, making sure I'm not touching the thing for the camera. That will be the last piece of the 4. I already have spring and summer already done. So I am working on these monochromatically. They're all using one type of DMC floche. It's the same color throughout, and I'm changing the fabric so that they will be a kind of a cohesive collection in the scrapbook, because you'll have the tie-in of the floss color, and then you'll have the different seasons showing with the fabrics. So that's what it looks like. That's Summer House Stitch Works, and here we go. And my floche is, I think it's $3.19. Let me see if I can reach it real quick here. Yes, if you've never used floche before, let me show you. Floche is a DMC product. It's one-stranded. Now this is after it's been cut. It comes in a big circle otherwise before it's cut. And on 18 count, I do like one strand. I know for some people it's a little thick on 18 count one strand, and that 16 count works better. So you kind of play around with what you like. I like really fluffy stitching, which is why I always use 2 strands of DMC on my 18 count. But you know, you have to do what's comfortable for you. So there I am. I am really plugging along. This whole entire side is done now. The word autumn is done. I had done the words, and then I said, no, you got to do something else, because the words are quick and fun. So I came through and I did that border. This one is maybe halfway done, maybe slightly more than half. The words will be easy. This is a little bit of a challenge up here, but then we have another pumpkin here, and that should be pretty easy to do. I don't know if Summer House Stitch Works does digital. I have obviously I have the hard copy. I make a working copy, and then I use a kind of a metal document stand, and I do have a ruler. And so with something like that, what I'll do is I will just put the ruler at the part I'm stitching and then just keep moving down. And so something like that's really easy, but there's a lot of little bits over here that I have to pay attention to. And I did do a little of that the last time I stitched, just to start getting that done. So it's getting there. This is hand dyed by Rolanda, but it doesn't have a name. Rolanda names some of hers, but she doesn't always. And it's a really pretty, I'd say it's a little peachier than you're seeing right now. That's showing it a little bit washed out. But I didn't want to go, I did a set of 4 seasons that my colors were a bit brighter. And this set of 4 seasons, I'm doing a little bit more pastel-y versions of those colors. And so you'll have both of those collections in the scrapbook, which I think will be fun. That other one has already been scrapbooked and is in there. So this one, I really would like to finish this and start the winter at the beginning of winter. And I mean, I don't put time limits on myself, but it would be nice to kind of get that project done. I like these seasonal projects. I like them a little bit better than the monthly ones. I don't know if it's because it's 4 versus 12. But it feels more doable. It doesn't feel like there's that, that much more hanging over your head. All right, where's my iPad? This one here is a digital piece, so I need to show you the picture. And let's see. Usually I have more digital before that. Nope. Let's see. That is not what I need. Photos, that's what I need. And I keep a whole album of my projects, my current ongoing whips. And so this way, if it's really good, if you like to do challenges, or if you're starting to think about challenges, I just take a picture of the front, or a screenshot if it's a digital online or whatever. And then I can literally just scroll through all of mine, and it helps with prompts because you can kind of see if something jumps out at you for a prompt. All right. When did I start this one? I started this one in, I think it was Mayish. It was in the late spring. This is the Ruby Throated Hummingbirds, and it is by Boomerang Stitches. And I believe it was a exclusive, right? What was the one in Mingle? The Spring Mingle? I think in the Spring Mingle. I think. So I started it then, and I've just, I just kind of plod along. I'm kind of like the tortoise between the tortoise and the hare with the stitching races. Not that it's ever a race, but you know what I mean? I'm the one that goes and kind of plods along nice and slow. And I was so inspired by Melanie from Uplift Stitches, who has this one finished. She has, Melanie, you are awesome. You've started it and finished it. And I'm still plodding along. And Karen, the Stitching Out, is also doing it as well. And Karen was really cool because she showed you how you could break it apart a little bit. I believe she's stitching it right now fully, but wonderful idea, brilliant idea. I didn't think of that. And so if you watch Karen's videos, I think it's the last one, she may have showed you that. So that's what this looks like. This stitch by Boomerang is wonderfully, this is my second Boomerang, and she's got a wonderful mix of block stitching, and then every once in a while, kind of, I'll call this confetti. I mean, it's geometric confetti, and again, geometric confetti. So there's a nice mix of that if you'd like to try out something that has a little bit of both, and you don't want to get stuck doing one or the other exclusively. This is Patience from Millennial Fabrics. It's a really lovely blue, and I think that's showing up actually pretty accurate. And I do love these colors on the blue. I think they really pop. So this is actually, this hummingbird is, yeah, he's done. This is the start of the next bird, so ignore that. This one's done. The flower is just about done. I have 3 stitches in the middle of this. I do have that ladybug and that ladybug. I have another ladybug over here. So I have all of the purple flowers to do, and then I have another hummingbird to do. This one did go very nicely though into Pattern Keeper, so it's really easy. Just, highlight something and go with it. So this one will just keep coming out. Maybe my goal is maybe a year, right? Have it done by its 1-year anniversary. I'm not really worried about it otherwise. I did pull that one out last month for the origami shape because when I Googled origami shapes, you can make a hummingbird in origami if you're so inclined. Okay, what's next? Okay, now we are jumping into my Thanksgiving bingo. So I did this last year as well, and I decided to do it again this year because I really, really enjoyed it. I was inspired by the magazine monthly cross stitch challenge. You'll see in the description box below, it is a Facebook group, and they do bingo games in January and September, and then they did do one in the spring last year. I didn't do that one, but last year they only had those 2, and I just enjoyed that September one so much that in November, after my pumpkin birthday, October, I thought, oh, I was going to do it, and I really liked it, so I did it this year. It's basically Thanksgiving, and I put the word thanks here and giving there, so you can be Thanksgiving or giving thanks, right? Because, we kind of I look at November as a month of gratitude. Not that you can't look the whole year as each day as a gratitude day. And what I've done is I've come up with, so when you do it this way, there's 36 squares. So I came up with 30 prompts that are stitching related. And then I don't have them all yet, but I have 6 kind of action prompts, I'm calling them, that have to do something with gratitude and all of that. And so each day I decided not to do paper this year. Usually I would just put 1 to 30 in a bowl and then pick out. I'm using a virtual 30 side dice. and I just virtually roll every day. And obviously, as we get near the end, I might have to go to paper because it'll repeat a lot of the numbers. But I have all my prompts. And so the first thing I do in the morning when I come to the crafting room is I do my roll and I see what number comes up, and then I figure out a project. My goal, because there's 30 stitching prompts, is to do 30 different projects. That way I've touched at least 30 pieces this month. Sometimes more, but that's pretty good. It's probably what, about a third of my projects, a little bit less than that if you take out all of the full coverages, because those generally don't get put into this when I'm doing these games. So I have the 1st through the 5th for you for prompts, and then yesterday I stitched on the number late, and I think you know by now I generally get everything ready. I have been, especially now, because Friday mornings I'm on Bella duty. I have to kind of not babysit, but I'm in charge of Bella. And right now, especially until she is house trained, that means eyeballs on her at all times. And so I start prepping even earlier than I used to. And luckily last night I had everything already all set and ready to go. So this morning was, that was one less thing I had to really worry about. But long story to say that you'll see Thursdays next week. And that's just how I work with my challenges. All right, so the November 1st, I rolled the number 12. And the number 12 prompt was a large stitch. Now, I mean, everybody's idea of a large stitch is different, right? And I have ones that are larger, but this one is a large stitch, in my mind at least. So it worked. And I haven't worked on this one in a while. This one is Mary Poppins, and it is from Lina Ova. Now, how I'm stitching it is not quite as big as what you see here. I am not stitching that beautiful, gorgeous border. So let me bring it up close so you can see the border. And then I'm going to make this slightly bigger here, so you can see that's generally the picture I'm doing. And there's fun little internal borders that I liked enough that I said, I don't need to do the whole thing. Cinderella from Lina Ova, I am doing the full thing. That hasn't gotten work lately either, but I think it fits for an I Spy prompt this month, so you probably will see it. So let me show you Mary Poppins. I have to figure this out a little bit because I might have to move the camera slightly over so that I can show you these and not gouge myself. So there we go. That's where Mary Poppins is as an entirety. Actually, I did jump around this time because I want to do that. This is Uranus from Under the Sea Fabrics. When I got it, it was the fabric of the month. But I don't know if it made her regular line. I think it might have, actually. It's a really pretty blue, actually. So let me do both sides. I'll show you a little bit closer. I did work on some buildings, actually. Actually, it's mostly buildings, to be honest with you. So I did get a decent amount of work on these buildings right here. So that was done. And I think, let me show myself the picture for a minute. Under these buildings now, we have another border, and then we'll have a section that has words, so that should go quickly. And then, because I can't stay with one section at all, I started to do some of the building over here as well. Now, for myself, I try to do, and I have been, a minimum of 200 stitches for each prompt. I mean, like any of these, I think in Magazine Monthly, they usually say a minimum of 100. When they do their bingos, I don't know when they do the Springo. I don't remember what that was, but and I've always just kind of looked at it as we can pretty much do whatever we want if we want to make it more. I don't put it on for any sort of challenge prizes or anything, so I figure I can change it a bit if I want. But so this also got done. I know that, and again, doesn't look like tons, but this actually, there was a lot of windows and a lot of stitching in those windows right there. But this whole section, once I could get that done, this is just all one row at the bottom. This is the border that is the most extensive, and I still have to bring it, all the way over here and come down here. All the other borders are pretty easy, but this one I've never figured out like a really good, you know how with borders, if you can find a good pathway, sometimes they become much easier. And for whatever reason, this one keeps kind of stymieing me a little bit. So I think that's why it's going so slow. But it's coming along. It's looking good. And this, you know, these projects are long-term projects, so I'm not really worried about when they get done. I think this will fit in the 12 by 12 scrapbook, actually, which is cool. So I believe, yes, I've scrapbooked the other Mary Poppins piece that I did. Okay, this next one. Okay, so it was number 17 was what I rolled. And what was 17? The prompt is a small stitch. And actually, I want to show you a picture. This is actually a start, a finish, and a full finish. I'm really proud of myself for that. If I go to regular photos, because I don't think let's see if I can find it real quick. Oh, here it is. Remember I showed you this last week. This is a set of 9 from Pinker and Punkin. So that's the entire set there. And then I was focusing, the only one I think I printed off. Now these are all free patterns at Pinker and Punkin. They're all free patterns. You just have to find them in the blog. And then I just print them off. You know, you click on the links and you print. The Cornucopia was the one I was interested in. And I was interested in just making that by itself. Now, I'm going to ask for your grace a little bit because the stitching went wonderfully. No problem. However, I finished this and another piece fully finished yesterday, and this was the first one, and I can't even blame listening to a book or listening to a Flosstube. I had nothing going on in the background. I don't know, my brain was a little frazzled, and so it is completely wonky because I did do the frame in the end. It was a little too small with just the Cornucopia. So the frame is completely wonky as a finish, but when it goes up on the little tree or wherever I put it, nobody's going to look that close, so I'm okay. So I'll bring it up in all its wonkiness so you can see. Do you see? And I didn't realize it until I had already glued everything, and I tried to fix, and it wasn't happening. But back here, just doesn't it look cute? And you don't even really notice that. So I used all of the called for colors. Let me do this so you don't see the wonkiness for a minute on the Cornucopia. However, for the border, instead of the single color, I pulled out, it has no tag on it. So I have no idea. And I looked in my book. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure this is a variegated DMC. And those of you who don't like, looking for a piece of paper, you know, I'll use the back of the pattern here that I printed off. For those of you who don't like things that are really messy, then avert your eyes, because this is what it looks like. It was, in my defense, it was messy when I found it. I went looking, and look at how that's got like the browns and reds. So this is the one I debated on switching to for that Thanksgiving start I did. However, I don't even know what it is. I did go to Michael's this week and picked up some DMCs, and I did a look at what they have for the DMC variegations, and I didn't find it. So I don't know. I am 99% sure it is a DMC variegation. I just don't know what. So it's really cute as the border, although it shows up mostly brown on this, which makes me hesitate. You know, I would want to use, although there's actually, we're gonna do this. You see how it's mostly brown. Now, I only used couple strands, obviously, because this is so small. So I just might have gotten a piece that really didn't have any of the deep red oranges in it. If I was going to change that Thanksgiving piece, I'd first have to figure out what this is, get it, and then restart it. And then you're already halfway through November, which is another reason why I'm thinking I might just try to figure that out eventually and do a different Thanksgiving stitch in that. But that's what this looks like. So, and I just used some simple fabric. So that's the first one. And that is a start, a finish, and a full finish. Here's my November Cottage. So we pulled that out. So we'll put that there. That's Country Cottage Needleworks, if you're interested. And then I was in the drawer, and I found, because I was pulling out my Thanksgiving stuff now, because November we pull out, I've been liking to do turkeys and stuff, and I've been trying to do a turkey a month each year. And so for the last 2 Thanksgiving Novembers, I've done turkeys. I think I'm just going to count the Cornucopia as my Thanksgiving stitch this year. I stitched this one. I believe this was a freebie from Tiny Modernist. I am almost sure this was a freebie from Tiny Modernist. Isn't it cute? And so it was sitting in the drawer. I said, well, I'm going to fully finish that. Now this one, this was the second full finish I did. So I really kept my brain on the ball, and I did a much better job not making this one wonky. And then I had this really kind of cool fabric. That was the reason why I originally went to Michael's, because I've been getting the emails, you know, their big yarn and whatever. Now that they've, you know, gotten, you know, bought out the Joann's yarn, whatever it is. So I was like, ooh, maybe they'll have fabric too. They have tons and tons and tons of yarn. My little cross stitch aisle is not looking any better than it did, and no fabric. I was really kind of disappointed. I was really hoping they'd have fabric, but that's what this one looks like. And I was lucky to have some, because I was going to look for some kind of brownish fabric for both of those pieces, but luckily I had some in my, you don't want to look at that crooked, oh, the rest of the video. There we go. So those are my 2 full finishes this week, and one was a start and finish as well as a full finish. So super exciting, and yay for my bingo, because that got me started with it too. All right, so I don't know if you know off the top of your head what you think this might be. Let me know. Let me put this, let me put that bag over there though. All right, next. The next number that was called was number 1, a project I am grateful for. And I thought about that because, I mean, honestly, I'm grateful for all my projects. I'm grateful to be able to do cross stitch. I'm grateful for the eyes that can see, the hands that are not too arthritic to not do it, the ability to have the free time to do it. So I'm grateful for cross stitch as it is. So I you know, kind of drilled down a little bit deeper, and I went with Blackbird Sampler for a bunch of reasons. One, monochromatic I absolutely adore. It is probably my favorite type of stitching because I find it extremely meditative and extremely relaxing. And I feel like we all could use that every once in a while. Me on a daily basis if possible. Also, I'm grateful for the chance to try, I'm using Threadworks, and I'm really, really enjoying it. So I'm grateful for that chance, and I'm grateful that I like it now that I've started it. And I really would like to do more projects. I have another couple projects with Threadworks, but I am loving it so much that I think I want to, you know, dive in and do some more. And the third reason I'm thankful for is because I am stitching this with Mary, again from Mary's Stitching Corner, and I am extremely grateful for Mary's friendship. She has been an extraordinary friend to me, and oh, I'm going to tear up now, and I'm just so grateful for her. So thank you, Mary, for being my friend. All right, so here we go. This is where I am, and I always try to do a couple of, I did one of each of these motifs because I'm really trying. It's a 2-sided out of the 4-sided, but there's a lot of these, right? So I figure I'm not going to want to be stuck at the end doing them, because you know that's what's going to happen. I won't do them at the beginning. So I had done all of that, you know, squiggly stuff, and I said, okay, I got to do some more squiggly, but I figured, oh, let's get these 2 done. I got that done. I believe I had to finish this over here. I got a couple more of the numbers, and I did this motif over here as well. So love it, love it, love it. This is Celestial Tide from To Die For Fabrics. The Cornucopia, just, I didn't forget to give it to you. It was a scrap. I don't know whether or not I'll tell you that or not. So if I completely don't say anything about a piece, if I've truly forgotten, the name will be in the description box. And if I haven't, I might just say scrap or something on this description box, so you know it wasn't an error in my brain. So that's where that one is. And I just pulled this one out. Mary and I started this one, I think it was for Sampler September. And it's going to take a while. I mean, it's big, you know, I mean, I've worked on it, I don't know how many times. And, you know, I mean, I give it a minimum of 200 to 300 each time I work on it. So, I mean, not huge amounts, but not that's nothing to sneeze at either, right? It's going to take some time. Oh, do I have my little tag? Nope, that's the Threadworks without the tag. I'm sure I have more than one though. Yes, I do. It is 1024 that I'm using for the Threadworks. So it's not a I was going to say highly variegated. I'm not sure it's variegated at all for the most part. Maybe very subtly, but I just adore it. I really do. That is going to become some of my favorite floss to work with, I think. And you can get it in the 20-yard skeins, which, whew, that means you can get quite a bit. Okay, next number. I picked number 8, a stitch with my favorite color. Now, this is a tough one for me because I love color in general, and it depends on my mood on any given day what would be considered my favorite. However, if I was to ask any of you who have been with me, boy, I was going to say forever, but even just 2 months, right? What color would you say is my favorite color? I imagine most of you would say blue. And I love blue. Blue goes with everything. I'm actually wearing tealish blue and navy blue right now. So there you go. So I decided to pull out Blue Rhapsody because this one's always a fun one. It's beautiful and it needs some work. I'm looking at this. Would it be completely out of, because I was going to stitch the whole thing. But what if I kept it? I was just looking at it and I was like, boy, that's kind of like a natural border at the end. What if I stopped it there? This is beautiful, but this right here looks gorgeous. Okay, I'm reevaluating what I might do on this piece. That's beautiful, but I think it's kind of, I'm going to stitch all of this as is, and that might be where I go. All right, this is how my brain works sometimes as I'm thinking of it. I have no problem like taking off whole pieces of patterns. Blue Rhapsody from Rosewood Manor. I did change this. It started in Weeks Dye Works. I'm using, it's only 2 colors. I'm using 2 DMCs because I had them and I found 2 that I liked that are basically the same colors, to be honest with you. And there's so much movement with this, I felt like I didn't need a variegated kind of hand-dyed floss. And so here we are. This is my one of my favorites, Darling David from Those Missing Stitches. It's washing out a little bit. It's slightly, there we go. That might be a little bit better. It is slightly more, deep in color. So what did I do? I worked heavily on this side. Let me fold this over for a minute here. Quite a bit of this got done. I brought this down. I finished up here, needed extra finishing, up here needed extra finishing. And I might have added a couple of the darker navy color. I think it's 336 I'm using for that, to a couple of the letters. But I really wanted to tackle this. It's a gorgeous piece right there, but that's harder than some of these other pieces will be. And so I thought, let's just tackle that. So if I decided to end it, that's the bottom of where I'm talking. So let's look at this again. I think that might work really well, actually. Ooh, I'm really liking this idea. So I started this one for Beth, the Steadfast Stitcher's birthday stitch. Let me write down Beth for a minute. Oh gosh, Beth, 3 years ago? I don't remember. She was doing one of the birthday months that she had. She was doing, it might have been 2 years ago. Rosewood Manor. Any Rosewood Manor you wanted. And I know she started a couple of beautiful ones. And so I'd like to get some more work on this. This butterfly, gosh, wouldn't that be beautiful on its own? That would be a gorgeous stitch right there, with or without the border. I think both ways would be pretty. And Rosewood Manor actually encourages you, and I'm not giving anything away, that's not patterns, to do other parts of it. So then I don't really feel bad about taking that other section out. But you can choose bits and pieces of the pattern and do different things. So that's why I would say that butterfly, really, really pretty. And you could do any color you want, just a 2-color combination, depending on what color you want to highlight. So that's where it is. Oh, I'm really feeling excited about this and invigorated now that I think I might do that. Oh gosh, that takes about 1/3 of the stitching out, and that makes this one much closer to a finish. Okay, we might see this more often now. Now, Beth, actually, I was watching her video. She puts videos out every other Wednesday. And I believe this Wednesday, right? Because I just watched it, was a video. And she is doing a anything literary birthday stitch this December, and she showed one from, I think it was Heartstring Sampleries, that had something to do with libraries. It's beautiful. So I am 75% in on that piece. I have my Real Comfort, which is a Jane Austen, right? So I have a piece already, but why not start another one? And I could just do a couple for Beth's birthday in December. So check out Beth's video if you would like to join along. I will just check her video out anyway. She's beautiful stitching. But then, if you want to stitch along in December and celebrate her birthday, that is some options for you. And not my last stitch I'm going to show you for whips, but my last Thanksgiving bingo piece of the week is I pulled number 26, and that prompt was a stitch with colors that remind me of a favorite fall food. And I immediately was going to do the oranges because pumpkin pie. I eat pumpkin pie once a year. I have a vegan recipe. I feel like I could use if somebody, and I know we have a few vegan stitchers out there that hang out with me in videos. If you have a really good vegan pumpkin pie, I'm willing to change. I like this one, but I don't love it. But I love pumpkin pie. So once a year, we make it at Thanksgiving. We make two. We make one that, well, the vegan one anybody can eat. But we also, because I like pumpkin pie so much, we make one that's like the Libby traditional one. And, you know, people eat that if they want to as well. And then that leaves more pumpkin pie for me and mine. But I'm always willing to try a new one on recipe-wise. And if I have to practice before Thanksgiving, well, you know. But anyway, I've gone backwards. So pumpkin pie was going to be my thing. And then I thought, well, I probably did that last year. I didn't look at the prompts. These are pretty much identical to last year. And I think each November, I will keep them that way. Because that doesn't mean I'm going to pick the same projects because it ebbs and flows. But I like these prompts. So why reinvent the wheel? I already do that with I Spy every month. So why do that with this? And so I thought, okay, what else would it be a favorite fall food? Another thing that I do at Thanksgiving, and I don't know if this is controversial or not, I love cranberry sauce and the real like whole berry sauce. So I am one of the only people that eats it at Thanksgiving, and that's fine with me because that means I have more leftovers. I actually put it in my oatmeal when I have it as leftovers as one of my fruits for my oatmeal. But deep red color for cranberry sauce. What are your thoughts on cranberry sauce? Whole berry, or the canned, or something else, or a mixture? I don't know. And I don't generally put, I know there's some recipes where you can put like oranges or something in there. I've not really tried that. I've gone pretty traditional. But, well, then I thought, well, what do I have that's kind of cranberry sauce-ish red? I mean, you can go deep red to bright red, right? Because the cranberries are. But I would like to get this one finished this year. And in December, I believe I'm going to make it my 100 stitch a day. And I'm going to see if I can finish it by the end of the year. This is Christmas Band Sampler. Ooh, you're seeing all my windows and everything. And it is from Lost in Stitches Designs. And I have since made the decision to make it a completely red sampler. It's really fun with those colors, but I was just doing red and going along, and I loved it so much that I said, that's it, I'm keeping it red. And there we are. This is Friendship Green by Fabrics by Stephanie. Many of you know it's one of my favorite kind of greens that are very subtle, very light, and I thought it went well with the really deep red. And at the time, it would have gone well with the greens and such as well. So I went back up. These were supposed to be green, so I went back and I finished those. That whole section is done. Down here is completely done. Nope, down here. Then I went, this whole section needed to be done. So I finished that as well because that's, you know, a little bit challenging counting wise. So I got that done. And then I almost got the word Mary done. We have a letter Y left to do. At that point, I think I ran out of stitching time. So we have, what do I have left? I have, oops, let's X out of that so I can see what I'm doing. Over here, I have 2 trees, and then the year is given. That would be really cool if I can do 2025. We'll see. I have to repeat that here. And then I have all of this section to do. And well, this border is repeated here. I think that's doable for the month of December. I don't know if this will come out again in November, but that's okay. I mean, that would be 100 a day-ish. It would be 3,100, maybe if I don't do it every day, even like 2,800. I gotta think that would be enough to get this one done. So hopefully this would be another finish by the end of the year. That would be fun. But I really do enjoy this one. It's a really lovely stitch if you're looking for a nice Christmas band sampler. And I'm loving it with all the reds, I have to say. I'm really pleased with that. Alrighty, I have 3 more pieces to show you, and then we'll get moving on. There's not a lot for the video after that, so hang in there with me if you want. All right, I decided to show you another Christmas because I did pull out the Prairie Schooler Santa 2025. So that's what it looks like. As usual, I don't usually do these kind of backstitch borders. I'm not doing the words. There's more words there. I'm not doing these snowflakes. No, not snowflakes. Snowballs, these snowballs, any of that. So basically, you're going to get Santa. And I'm saying this is filled with snowballs because he's mischievous and he's throwing a snowball. So that's all you're going to get for this one. And I have done a previous Prairie School Santa in this color, so I wanted to do another one. I don't know. It's a scrap. It's a pretty, it is fairly variegated like that, modeled, I should say. But that's he's going to be solid, so it's not going to be that big a deal. I haven't done his face yet. I have to look to see on my notes what the other Santa, Blue Santa's face was, and I'll do the same colors there. But I finished the snowball, his hand, worked on his arm, and then I came down and I did all of this. So now this is really good fill-in stitching. And at that point, I have the bottom cuff of his coat, his legs, and his boots. So all of that is block stitching. So this one, I'm not going to say I'm going to have it done for Christmas because there's a lot of stitching here, but I'm in a really good place for it. So if it doesn't get done this year, it will easily get done next year. I was pulling out Prairie Schooler Santa's finishes, and I have at least 3 that I have to fully finish that are already stitched. Actually 4, because there's this one in this bag. This is the other one in the blue. Right here, I think, was words, and I'm going to put a snowflake Brad, I think, when I finish it. I have been making all of those ornaments. I have 2 or 3 done, 2 maybe, and I thought about making all of them the same sort of finishes, and then I said I don't want to. I want to shake it up a little bit, make it a little different, because everything else on the tree is different, so why would I want all of them to be the same? So I'm debating on December. I'm still thinking and debating. Obviously, I generally for Flossmas will do like 5 or 6 longer videos plus my regular videos. I might do a bunch of little small ones thrown in as well, with like some finishes, or maybe I try to do a finish every other day, some starts. I don't know. It's still all up in the air. Okay, Arabesque from Jan Hicks. So I have officially nixed my sports stitching. I don't mind. I don't live and die by whether or not my sports teams win or lose or whatever. I don't particularly care for when they, like, if they lose but they put up a really good fight, okay, at least you know they put up a good fight. This year, when the teams lose, they don't lose very well sometimes, you know what I mean? So it's a little frustrating. Okay, whatever. But because I'm stitching to those, I don't want to stitch that into the pieces, either this one for the soccer or the other one for the football. So I'm just going to stitch when I want. I mean, and ironically, Aston Villa played yesterday, which is the soccer stitch, and they did win, but I'm just going to stitch when I want now. I'm going to try to find some way to do this one consistently, because the goal was I was going to have it done hopefully by the end of the season, which is in May, and I think I can easily do that. So I do want to keep the momentum up, but I'm no longer tying either that or my Witch's Hollow to sports. It's a great idea and fantastic to all of those of you who are getting lots of stitching with it, but I was finding that I wasn't sometimes enjoying the stitching because they were playing horrendously. Like, I don't want that. I don't want those feelings in these pieces. So this is where I am. This is just an unknown piece of fabric, and it is fabulous. I am, what did I do? I think I'm in a lot of letters right now. So I don't think I did anything but letters. These letters are, they're fabulous, but they are huge. So you stitch a couple of them and you're a few hundred stitches in at that point, and you're looking at the thing saying, how is that even possible? But that was where my focus was in this area. I cannot unsee this guy as being a little guy with his eyes and his mouth. I will never unsee that. And now, sorry if you'll never unsee it. But I'm just working my way down. Everything above the letters is completely finished. And I think I'm just, gonna keep top down. This is where the page break is. I do have the paper pattern, so it's a little challenging there, but it's coming along. But again, I'll figure out something else with this one. Maybe Christmas movies. Well, it gets me through the end of the year. I don't know. But no longer. That's nixed. You will not hear about soccer or football stitching anymore. And the very last piece I'd like to show you is, where are my 2025 projects? And here it is. This was my whip into shape. And Andrew, the runner stitcher, put Andrew's name down. Andrew ran the marathon. Fabulous accomplishment. I am so impressed that someone can run 26 miles. And this is the piece I chose. I had finished the first piece. I was working on a different one. And then when Andrew switched to his New York Marathon exclusive, the end of August, that's when he started training specifically for that. I pulled this one out and I have been stitching on it faithfully each week for those last few months. And I am going to put it aside for now. It's getting really close. So I know I won't put it up too far away. Because gosh, if I could figure out a way to get this one finished by the end of this year, this would be a huge accomplishment. This is Spring Quaker. It's from Lila's Studio. I'm sure you've seen it before. However, mine is an extensive color conversion. Yes, I will share it once I get everything written down. And I just thought spring, I'm going with green. I'm going with rebirth, new growth, the whole bit. And then everything else. It was a domino effect. Once that happened, everything else started to get changed. Even the basket are different colors than what's called for, even though it's the same kind of color scheme. This is Rose Hips from Under the Seat Fabrics. And I worked faithfully on this section here. So again, these houses, huge. So there was some underneath here that I did, but it was pretty much just housework. And this one, once I bring this down, there's a little bit extra on the roof there. I am pretty much, there's a little bit on this house that has to get redone. I'm pretty much done. And then I go back and I figure out what I'm doing with the flowers over here, finish the words, put in something right here in that empty spot, and we'll be done. So yes, there's more than I think, but I mean, look at how far I've come. So we're super, super excited on this one. So maybe I'll figure out something in December. November, I'm going to concentrate on Turkey Day because I really want to get that one done. And that gives me time to think about what I want to do with this one. So many things, right? So many fun stitches. So that was my stitching for this week. Very exciting, I thought. I will be picking each day. I haven't picked, did I pick today? Actually, I have. I have picked today's number. So I'll just keep picking a number each day. So that gives you, some projects. And then I do other things as well. And I do other, moving into plans. I do other challenges. So I am a member of Whip Warriors, which is now open. If you would like to give it a try, that is Facebook. It is a challenge group, participation required. But from now until the end of the year, you get a chance to just try to your heart's content, play around, figure out how the posting works, figure out how to do the pictures so that you get credit. But you don't have to worry about, did I get my stitches from now to the end of the year? Come January, everything rolls over again. So if you just search Whip Warriors, answer the questions, and then go to the events section and start looking and playing around and read the descriptions and maybe see how other people are posting and see if you like it. So one of the ongoing events that they do is the focus event. And that is this weekend. It started yesterday, I think 4 o'clock my time, because it is a worldwide group. And it ends Sunday, 4 o'clock my time, I believe. So usually it's a little bit longer. I think it usually goes into Monday, but I think they have other things planned. So I will see how many stitches. I did a little bit last night on I'm picking black roses. So you haven't seen that one for a little bit. I got very little done though last night. Mo and I we were up here watching something, but Bella was very restless, and so I didn't get much stitching done. But that is on the plan for this weekend. You will see that along with all of the bingo prompts, possibly I Spy, and then I don't know if there's any other things going on, or if I just feel like stitching on something. So we'll see. But those are kind of like the general plans. The only definite plan is black roses, because I've already started that, and whatever I pick, but I don't know ahead of time. With bingo, I don't pick what I'm going to stitch for each prompt. And look what silly I did. I called number 8 and I put number 8 stuff in number 30. I have no idea why I did that. So I put myself a little note. So this way I know when 30 gets called to put it there. So I'd almost, because today's pick gave me this row, but you can't count this one now because I'm getting so close to a bingo already, but this one doesn't count. So, but none of these are picked. I look at the prompt that morning and I decide that day what I'm going to work on. So it's always an adventure. I never know what I'm going to do. All right. So happy mail. I have a plan actually for next pumpkin birthday already. This was so exciting. I got a wonderful card for a birthday card. And along with that, a stitchy friend is stitching this, and hers looks beautiful, and she had an extra copy, and I've seen so many people stitch. This is Zuka from, is it Alessandro Adelaide Needleworks, and so many color combinations. So she sent me her extra copy, so thank you so much for that. I am going to put this one right in the plans for next year. And that gives me a year to hem and haw about what fabric and what floss and everything I'm going to do with that. And the card is one of the most fabulous cards I've ever had. The Hallmark's words were fantastic. And I think I got to figure out a way to be able to put that as a reminder for myself all the time. Right, that's it for, there is no shopping to show you. I did get a notice that my fabric of the month from Fabrics by Stephanie has been shipped, so that should be coming. So that will be something that I can show you next week. And I think I have some floss coming from Stitchy Stuff Co. So a couple different things, hopefully, to show you for shopping. And that's it. So that's all the stitching stuff. If that's all you're here for, thank you so much for being here. I am so grateful for you, and I hope you have a great week. All right, so life stuff's going to be short. We did completely enjoy the gorgeous weather that we had over the weekend. We got our last bull. We took it to the beach. We did, you know, I can't walk much, but I did a little walk on the boardwalk. And it was just a beautiful, gorgeous day. In fact, it was so nice that I had seen on social media that one of the restaurants that we we'll hit maybe 3 or 4 times in the season, usually before it gets crowded downtown, and then after the main season's over. They were closing for the season on Sunday, and so it was a beautiful afternoon, and we said, you know what? And it's one of those places where you can sit outside, and it's just really fun. So we did go and eat dinner outside, and just the two of us. Bella needs some crate training, right? Because she can't always come with us and be, so we used that as her crate training time, and we went out, just the two of us. So that was really nice. And that was we didn't do much else besides on the weekend. Mo played pickleball, you know, the whole bit. And the weather has turned a little bit. It's getting colder, but during the day the sun comes out. So the sun is out now. So it's probably in almost 60, and it is quite lovely if the wind doesn't blow. We had some really windy days. There's a blast of cold air coming next week. I am so not looking forward to it, but you know, It is November, right? So it's going to happen. I did have a bit of a flare up this week, and I'm wondering if it's the weather changing. So I have not been quite able to do things as much as I would like to because things weren't feeling that great. But, you know, hopefully I practiced not catastrophizing, making the flare up a catastrophe. I can't say the whole word. And so that's part of it too, right? I mean, these things will happen. And so I am just kind of trying to teach myself how to deal with that mentally as well as physically, and then just keep taking steps forward. So, but yeah, I will be bundled up next week. Yeah, not looking forward to that. Otherwise, we are training Bella to stay now. We're working on come, stay, sit. We have pretty good. She's pretty good with that one, and touch, which I guess that's one for her to touch our hand. So at any time, an emergency, we need it. We need her attention to come to us. That's what the trainer had said to do with that one, even more than come. Touch is the non-negotiable. She is to come to get to us right away. So we're working on that, working on training her, working on still, house training her and all of that stuff and everything that comes with it. So, I'm just going to keep going, and one of these days, each week, I'm going to have a little party. I'm going to wear a little party hat or something when she gets it. She doesn't get it yet, but hopefully soon. But that's it. I am enjoying the challenges. I'm thinking if I can do a couple of Zooms, I know a couple of people have asked, I will try to. Now, what I might end up doing, if it's like a day in advance or even the day of, I might just post it on the Patreon. And if you can come, great. If you can't, hopefully I'll just do some more pop-ups, because I think right now, especially with the dog, I can't plan all pockets of my different days that far in advance. And so it just might be a very quick pop-up kind of, here's the info. If you want to join me, great. You're always welcome. And then I'm just living each day by day right now. So that's a possibility. Oh, TV. Thank you so much for all of you who said try Department Q. Absolutely. So Mo and I, we have things we like to watch together, things we definitely have different tastes for. And so we go back and forth. Some nights we watch things together. Some nights we say, I'll see you later. We're going to go watch our own thing. But we did watch Department Q. And you're right, it is a dark show. However, the acting was fantastic. I will say the language is rough. So if you don't care for that, there is some violence, and there is some psychological, I don't even know what the word, manipulation, maybe is the word I'm looking for. So it is very dark in some ways. But I was talking with, I did some in-person stitching yesterday for a little bit, and one of the women that had watched it, she had said she almost didn't care about the mystery part aspect. She really enjoyed the character development, and I thought the character development was fantastic as well. And it's funny because it's a very dark show, but there's moments of humor in it as well, and just I thought well done, acted, written, the whole bit. So if you can get over some of those factors that could be an issue or not be an issue, depending, if those are triggers for you in any way, I wouldn't watch it in that case. But it is very well done if you are interested in it. And I believe that was Netflix that it was on. And there is a second season that has been greenlit, so there will be a second season as far as we can tell. So that was our TV watching this week, and yeah, we have a list, and so we go back and forth. Right now, I think what's Mo watching? Oh, he just started Mayor of Kingstown, I think, and I wasn't sure if that's a me thing or not, so he's just watching it himself, and I am watching Flosstubes a lot, and then NCIS's, because I just love NCIS, and there's like a million of them. So now that the new seasons have started, I've been kind of watching some of that kind of network TV as well. But that's it. So that's all I got. So friends, I hope you're well. I hope you're safe. Please, as always, remember that you are important, that you matter, and you are so special to this world. So please, please don't ever forget that. And until next time, happy stitching.